this presentation, I'm calling it the path to making it as an artist or as a creative in today's day and age. And again, I should mention we've been at this for 10 years now, and we have a little bit over 14,000 customers. Overall, I've personally been in this industry for like 15 years, 10 of which have been at art storefronts. And in addition to that, I've been running, these types of forward-facing webinars with creatives just like you guys since 2020, a couple of days a week. And, at this point, I've had the privilege of speaking and hearing from tens of thousands of creatives in, intimate Zoom sessions just like this. And the combination of our customer base and what I've been able to learn on the Zooms sort of gives me some unique insight on what it takes to be successful in this particular business. No matter if you've never sold anything before, or you're a part-timer, you're trying to build a side hustle or a side business, or anything in between. And I think what's equally interesting is not just what you need to be doing and what you need to be focusing on, but the pitfalls and the roadblocks and the speed bumps that seems to hang so many artists and photographers up in today's day and age. And so my goal with today's session, whether you ever decide to sign up or call Art Storefronts home, is just to make you aware of sort of this creative world of ours. And this is simply, it's just not information that I find that is wildly disseminated or all in one place, or that most people are talking about. And it's certainly not summed up as succinctly as I plan on doing it today. So my hope is that you'll leave today energized, fired up for what you can start doing as soon as today, as you realize your creative dreams, your aspirations for your business. And my guess is you'll probably be nodding your head to some of the pitfalls and roadblocks that happen. So quick presentation, and then we'll get directly into your questions. And I'm happy to answer, like I said, any and all questions that any of you guys have. And so that is the ball game for today. So I want to start with, why you need to get this right and why you need to get it right now, this minute, okay? And there is a phenomenon with this industry that I've dubbed the Hotel California problem, okay? And it's based on the line from the famous Eagles song that says, you can check out anytime you like, but you can never leave, okay? It describes perfectly the creative gifting, okay, that you guys have. The desire to create, and ultimately the validation and satisfaction that will only come from selling that art never leaves you guys. Throughout these past 10 years, okay, this situation shows up day in, day out, week in, week out. I routinely get folks from just about every season of their lives, 30s, 40s, 50s, 60s, 70s, 80s, and 90s, sometimes showing up on my webinar saying, how can I grow my art business? How can I figure this thing out creatively, right? And, they come seeking answers for, like, what can I do to get this business moving in the right direction? And many have been at it for decades and decades and are still trying to navigate their way there. And, like the Eagles song goes, they've checked out many times over the various different seasons of life, but they're right back here again, trying to figure it out because you can never leave. And so it's this constantly recurring question. How do I get it right? How can I get things right this time so that I'm actually growing and on the right path, right? Like, how can we start taking the steps necessary such that we don't ever have to check out from forward progress and in reality lose the precious time that you can't get back when you were working on the wrong things or, you quit. And I always start with this question, which is like, what size is your restaurant? Okay. What size is your restaurant? And as artists, as creatives, I see this across the board. Pretty much all of you guys have to wear all the hats all the time. You're solopreneurs. You have to create the art. You have to market the art. You have to price and sell the art. Then you have to print and or ship and or print and ship. Any combination there is the art. Then you have to do all the customer service and the bookkeeping and the admin. And you have to consistently do that all year long. And the problem here is you're doing that as a one-man band, right? And a solopreneur, if you like. And the reason I like to use the restaurant analogy is, as artists, you guys are essentially just chefs, right? And if you're a chef, it stands to reason the thing that you should be working on are the dishes and making those incredible so everyone is just lining up around the corner to get them, right? But the problem is that you can't be just the chef. You have to be the receptionist and the maitre d' and the waiter and the sommelier and the bartender and the busboy and doing the dishes after the fact, right? And it stands to reason if you were doing all of those jobs, your restaurant is never going to be able to serve more than a diner or two a night because it's just too much work, right? So, why am I bringing this up? Something has got to give if your restaurant is going to grow, if your art business has got to grow. We have to start taking some of these additional jobs off your hands so you guys can focus on the thing that matters, okay? Creating the art and doing the marketing that only you can do. And I think the restaurant analogy really holds true. So what do most creatives out there do? What have many of you done, I'm sure? It's you do the best you can. Perhaps you try an in-person show or fair or two, or you try to get into a juried show. Or you do cobble a website together, right? And try to do some marketing or do a collab co-op gallery or try to get into an actual art gallery. And you work at that. But in most cases, though, at a point, the rubber meets the road, things get tough, and artists, photographers, and creatives quit. Does any of that sound familiar? And it feels to me like it's the New Year's resolution, right? This is going to be my year. I'm going to get fit. I'm going to sign up for that gym membership. You sign up in January. You're going 4 days a week in January. March rolls along and you haven't been once, right? And this just becomes this vicious cycle in this industry. So many artists and photographers fall into this again. And, you create this body of work, okay, because you're inspired and you love creating it. Then not enough work gets done to actually get the work in front of enough eyeballs to find out if it'll actually sell. Then the work stops, you take a break, you get bored with that old body of work, and then you go on and you create the next body of work. And it's just this vicious cycle of rotating through and never getting enough eyeballs onto the work, right? So it's this combination of the restaurant analogy, the New Year's resolution, and my Hotel California line that is the biggest problem that plagues this entire industry. But there's good news in all of it in that there absolutely is a cheat code, okay? There absolutely is a way to sort it, and it's just time and consistency. What have I seen time and time again that if we can keep our customers, and again, 10 years, 14,000 of them, if we can keep them consistent in their efforts and help them in those efforts so that they don't quit for months and years at a time, they'll make it. That's what it is. That's all it takes is just the consistency in doing the work. It's just that simple. Consistent forward progress and you will win. Your business will continue to grow. You will make it. It is the cheat code. It's like, what's the question I get all the time? Hey, Patrick, what would you say is the number one thing all of your most successful customers have in common? And it's easy. They've been consistent at it and they've never quit. 99% of artists never stay consistent. So the 1% that do win. It's the cheat code. It's the secret. And the best thing about it that we've learned over the years is it applies equally to absolutely everyone. The artist that's never sold anything, the artist that's only sold a few pieces, the artist trying to go full-time status, and even the artist selling tens of thousands or hundreds of thousands of dollars a year. There's no magical number to this notion of time and consistency, okay? You guys are all in different seasons of life. Some of you have an hour or two to spend a week on this. Some of you have 10 hours a week. Some have 30. And every little combination in between, it doesn't matter what the hours are. It just matters that you stay at it consistently without ever stopping, right? That's the only thing that matters. Some seasons of life, you can only spend a little bit of time. Life happens. Other seasons of life, you can spend more. But the beautiful thing that I continue to see happen is that we are emotional creatures as artists, okay? And as you're humming along with your 1 hour or 2 hours a week that you can spend on this, you're going to get some sort of a win because you're doing the work and your emotional reservoir is going to get filled up. And when that reservoir gets filled up, you end up spending more hours and it just starts feeding on itself. Momentum is an absolutely real thing. So how to become a successful artist or a photographer, a creative, is a complex problem, and we like breaking it down into the commensurate pieces, okay? And it goes back to this restaurant analogy, and it informs and underpins everything that we do as a business at Art Storefronts. It's how can we take as many things off our customers' plates so that they have the time to simply create? How can we help empower the folks that don't have 10 hours a week to work on their business? How can we give you guys as many options as possible for whatever season of life you're in such that the consistency is maintained? And that's quite literally everything that we do as a business. And so I'm going to highlight some of these features that we have, go through them quickly, explain some of them to you, but understand the underpinning theory of all of them is how do we take these jobs away from you so you're just the chef in that restaurant, right? How do we get it down to that baseline level? So number one, a feature-rich website. Our sites are dedicated to creatives. They have all the bells, all the whistles, all the features, because that's what we're set up to do from scratch and have been for a long, long time. And, over the course of the 10 years, we continue to make iterations to our website product. But there's really nothing out there out there on the internet. And over the years, we've been reviewed tremendously positively, right? We were reviewed over 2,000 times on Trustpilot, Facebook, and Google reviews. You can check out. They're all public. They're all online. When you look at our competitors, though, okay, they all have lousy ratings. Every single solitary one of them, right? And you look at this and you're like, what's going on here? How are you guys doing such a good job and they're all doing such a bad job? Is it that their products are bad or that their companies are bad? And no, absolutely it's not. It turns out setting up a website is a really difficult thing to do. Maintaining it is a difficult thing to do, okay? And that's why, starting about 3 years ago now, I think, we start building the websites for you. You do not want to learn how to speak HTML, CSS, JavaScript, GoDaddy, or plugins or anything else. It's just not a good use of creative's time, so we eliminate it. We build the entire website for you. You don't have to worry about any of this technical stuff. Our team solves all the hurdles for you. I go back to those reviews. They're all reviewed in terrible capacity because website technology is difficult and nobody wants to deal with it and nobody wants to stay up to date with it. And you don't have the time to. You need to be creating if the business is going to go somewhere, right? So I love that part of it. And it's one less headache for creatives when we build it for you. And your website gets live in a much shorter fashion, okay, which is incredible. We also have taken it one step further, and we've come up with this product called the Tech Assistant, which means you will never have to update your website ever again, period, okay? If you need a change, you need to add images, remove images, raise the prices, add a new gallery, update your artist statement, put in a press section, you tell us what to do, we'll do it for you. You don't have to lift a finger. You don't have to do a thing. You don't have to be techie. We will take care of it. And it's an option. If you feel techie, you want to do that, that's great. We got it covered. But if you don't, we can take care of it for you. And you can go on this plan, off this plan at any point in time. If you're busy for a season of life and you don't want to touch it, great. If you want to get off it, you can do that. So it's a wonderful option, we think. We've also really, really nailed print on demand. And print on demand is one of the greatest things that's ever happened to this industry, as far as I'm concerned. And it works equally well for merchandise as it does for art prints. Summarized succinctly, once your images are uploaded, in one click, you choosing a vendor. We have a vendor on the West Coast called Bay Photo, huge company. Another one on the East Coast called Graphic Dimensions on the print side of the house. And then we have a company called Guten that takes care of the merch side of the house. But the way that it works, you get an order, you get paid, the printer gets paid, the printer prints it, boxes it, ships it, the system sends out all the emails, and you don't lift a finger. You don't need to get out of bed. You don't need to be in the country. You don't need to be anywhere. And the options are myriad. And I'm, as someone that, I'm 45 years old. In my day, it was hold inventory, have minimum orders, right? Ship them out yourself. The fact that this is handled for you without having to lift a finger is us effectively being able to take away another one of those jobs. You don't have to interface with the printer. You don't have to send tracking numbers. You don't have to drive down there and go look at prints. All of it is taken care of here. One more way to make you consistent in your work and in your marketing. Let's talk about support. We're with you every step of the way in all the ways imaginable. Yes, chat. Yes, custom videos. Yes, tickets. Yes, phone calls. Yes, personal Zooms. Yes, group Zooms. We do it all. And if you read any of our reviews, the number one thing that we are reviewed for is how good our support system is. And it's there with you every single solitary step of the way. And again, I go back and I show that like how negative our competition has been reviewed. And again, the reason is not because those guys have crappy products. There's some great website products in there. There just are, okay? It's the fact that they don't have good support and the fact that they don't have community, which I'll get to in a second. But you're going to run into issues, okay? You're going to run into tech headaches, and you don't have the time to be searching forums, searching Google, searching YouTube, filling out forms, a hope and a prayer that it's going to get fixed. It just needs to be done, and it needs to be simple. And if we can do that, more time for you to create art, more time to do the marketing. And another thing that I've learned along this journey is we've solved for the now what, okay? Let me talk about the now what. There are a myriad of options out there where you can go get a website, guys. They're all over the place. There's vendors up and down. Some are free, some are super cheap, some are this, some are that, some are great, whatever. None of them solve for the now what. And now what is, okay, great. My website's up. It's live. It's completed. Now what? What do I do? Do I send an email? Do I run a sale? Do I announce that my store is open? How do I get the word out? How do I attract eyeballs? There's not any of the rest of them that concretely and conclusively solve for the now what. What are you going to do now that the website is live? The website is just the ticket to the game, quite frankly. Once the art is up there, that's all well and good, but many of you have had websites, and what happens if you don't do anything after the fact? Nothing. No one sees it. There's no orders. There's no sales. It's just a pretty portfolio that's on the web that's no one's seen. So you got to solve for the now what, okay? And one of the greatest ways that we solve for the now what is with this product that we call office hours. And we run about 9 of these a week, okay? And they are internal Zoom sessions. Oh, it's already running. They're internal Zoom sessions just like this that we run with our customers. Why is it just running?
How do I capitalize on these people who are interacting with me on my personal page?
But what I want you to do in that custom artwork strategy is promote the pet portraits to that audience.
So how is it that the print cost is paid or charged?
How wide do we go in terms of niches?
Do you have any advice or playbook for showing your...
You're going to end up having those questions week in, week out for the rest of your art selling career. Week 1, month 1, year 1, year 2, year 5, year 10. There's going to be issues with Facebook. There's going to be issues with Instagram. There's going to be issues with email. You're going to wonder about SEO. You're going to wonder what's the best pricing strategy for this in-person show or fair you're doing. You're going to wonder how to negotiate with a gallery, what the best booth setups are. Should you advertise in this magazine? What merchandise items should you sell? Should you be running a sale? These questions never, ever, ever go away. And if you don't have a community built in, if you don't have this support built in, week out, that is why the artists and photographers quit. That is why all of these reviews are so negative, because after the site is live is when the game actually starts. If you have that support, the entire ball game changes. You have somewhere you can go instead of being frustrated and pulling your hair out of your head and searching forums and trying to figure it out. All of that is just going to be good to go right out of the gates. And it's just such a powerful thing. I would go as far to say it has probably become the #1 bit of secret sauce that we have as a business. The fact that you will be supported for the rest of your art selling life, any and all questions you have that you need to get answered is going to happen. And in addition to that, you're going through this same journey of trying to figure this out, trying to figure out how to market, trying to understand social media sites, trying to send emails with a large group of your peers that is suffering just like you on learning how to do all this stuff for the first time, right? It's hard. It's hard. Like, where do you go otherwise? And so I believe it's really evolved into the secret sauce. We talk about taking jobs off your plate. Our next iteration is the thing that we call Copilot. It's now morphing into a thing that we call the Marketing Hub. But we are now doing a portion of the marketing for our customers as well. Because we have all of your images on a website that we have control of, we have entire control of the store, and we have all of your contacts because we database those for you. We are able to then integrate your Facebook, then integrate your Instagram account, and do marketing for you on your behalf consistently week in and week out all year long. We're able to execute sales and do things like pick a featured item on your store, run a sale on it, create a coupon code, email your list, post on the socials that you're about to have a sale, go through with the sale. After the sale's done, wind all that stuff back and turn your site back to normal. We're able to do that without you lifting a finger. And the feature's available to everybody in a different package. Sometimes we include packages depending on what specials we have, but it's one of those things you can use it or you cannot use it, okay? And essentially, the way that I like to think about it, the analogy that I like to give is like, it's no different than you owning a retail gallery and you needing to be in that retail gallery and talk to every person that comes in, right? And show off the work and show the prices and do that. You wouldn't do that as an artist. You would have a gallerist do that for you. Well, Copilot is essentially your gallerist. It's working for you week in, week out. It's rotating through your collection. It's posting to the socials, and it's making sure, back to this consistency thing, that you'll never not be consistent. You guys, you'll never not be consistent. So that's a small tinge of our features, and we have so much more. And again, all of it's designed, okay, to just keep creatives, save creatives time and keep them consistent, right? Keep them on that forward trajectory and still going on that path. And we believe that's essentially what is going to determine, like, you know, whether you're successful and keep going forward and make it. And as a final, one of the things that we've learned over the course of these years is that there's no one path that works for everyone. We have an insanely diverse customer base, okay? We have customers that are selling in galleries primarily and then doing some marketing. We have customers that own their own galleries, which, by the way, is a trend that I absolutely love. That's like, we have some people that are doing extremely well with that when you own the gallery yourself. We have customers that are road and show fair warriors, road warriors, I guess would be the right way to say it. Some that are doing 3 to 5 shows a year, some that are doing 30 shows a year. Okay. We have some customers that are mostly selling direct. We have some customers that just sell originals. We have some customers that sell the originals, the prints, and the merch. We have some that use us for their printing. We have some that do their own printing. There's a total mixed bag from top to bottom about who uses what, when, where, and for what reason. And any combination is available to you, right? Our job is to say, hey, here are all the resources that we have. We have playbooks, we have education, we have training, we have teaching, we have templates on no matter what you're going to do. If you're going to do an in-person Thayer show, I have one of the most comprehensive, incredible guides to in-person Thayer shows you've ever seen. It completely changes the game. Almost no artists and photographers know about these tricks and are using them. So we love, and I should also mention, we have a ton of artists that are teaching people to create art. And painting in one capacity or another. We have artists that are teaching photography. We have artists that are taking people into national parks and teaching them how to do spectral nighttime photography. It doesn't matter to us. I have never met a revenue source, as long as it's legal, that I don't like for creatives. Our job is to say, hey, you guys have got a creative talent. Let's get at this, figure out the best ways to monetize this creative talent and do it. So you can do any of it, some of it, anything in between, all completely up to you. So that is sort of what we do, who we are in a nutshell. Now, to see individual plans and to go through a tour of the entire software, we do a demo process. We can talk about that. I can have someone call you. There's forms to fill out on the site. But let's get right into the Q&A. Any and all questions you guys have, I'm more than happy to answer and get into, and love answering. If you're one of the brave ones that has your camera on and you have a question, you can do the old school hand raise. I'll see that. For everybody else, at the bottom of your Zoom window, there's this more button down there, and there's a raise hand option. You can see I just did it. That'll allow you to raise your hand, and then that lets me know, like, hey, this person's got a question. Yep, Bonnie, I see you. I got a question, and we'll take Bonnie first. All right, go ahead, Bonnie. You'll need to unmute. Mic icon, bottom left-hand corner. If you just click it, that'll do it. Mic, oh yeah, on the phone it's a little bit harder to find, but you'll find it. You'll find it, Bonnie. Yep, gotcha.
Okay, I'm unmuted.
Yep, gotcha.
Can you hear me?
I sure can.
Hey, how are y'all doing?
Good, how you doing?
Great. Well, I'm excited to get started. You offer everything I need and more.
Yeah.
And
it doesn't make it easy, Bonnie. It doesn't make it easy, but it's having all of the things, right? Which is so important. Yeah.
True. And I have quite a catalog of prints. I do photography. And I have most of it stored, obviously, digitally. And how do we go about selecting? Do we start, with a collection?
Yeah. So in a perfect world, you would already know what your best sellers are, and we would have you lean with those, right? Otherwise, it's finger in the air, and your finger in the air is just as good as mine. So we don't necessarily want to put everything up there right away, but just say like, hey, these are my ideas that I think will be my best ones. Let's start with these. Let's start doing some marketing, get some eyeballs on them, get some feedback, and it might be a hit right away. You might rotate, and then honestly, like, you're constantly going through old stuff and new stuff and bringing stuff back. That's just a part of it. Yeah, that's just a part of it.
Okay. And then to get started, is there a cost involved in getting started, or?
There is, yeah. The way that we, and it's admittedly confusing. Like, we got to get way better on the website, like explaining this. Trust me, I know we're internal debates right now. It's a two-part product. We're a website solution like every single solitary other website solution. Ours are better than everyone else's. I'm biased, admittedly. But you just pay a monthly fee for that. And there's a couple of different plans and packages. And I think it's like $59, $69, $79, somewhere in that range. Okay. The other thing is you pay a one-time fee to essentially get into what I dub as the university. And everything that I showed in there, like, you are supported for the rest of your life. the rest of your life that we're in business. There are people that are going to help you. Like, these Zoom sessions, we have 9 of these a week currently, 5 days a week. You popped into any one of them, and there's this really cool technology in Zoom. It's called breakout rooms. And so we have a tech breakout room on all of those Zooms. We have a Copilot breakout room if you're in Copilot, and then we have a marketing room. And it's like, if you're stuck on something, you come into the Zoom, you're like, what time of day is it? Okay, there's a Zoom in an hour. Let me get in there. And you're talking to a real human being that's actually helping you, that can look at your screen, that can log into your back end and just fix things if you need it.
That's amazing. Right? That's awesome.
Yeah, I'm very fired up about our product, and I'm very happy about our product. It doesn't mean that fish are automatically going to jump in the boat. We still have work to do.
Right.
But it
just
keeps
us to do the work. But you guys, the back.
And so there's a whole bunch of different plans and packages. So the best thing to do is a demo. But Bonnie, if you want me to have somebody reach out, I can just have somebody send you an email and set up the demo.
Oh, absolutely, absolutely.
Make a note so I don't blow it.
And I've been wanting to get started for a long time. I heard about you guys. Got a great reputation, and
sometimes Bonnie, sometimes these internet trolls, they come for me. They come for me with the knives out. But I'll have somebody follow up. I'll have somebody follow up with you. And great.
I greatly appreciate it.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Great comment. The best part of ASF is the teaching how to fish, right? Which is what we do. But you guys, I'm not kidding when I say, like, the consistency is what makes or breaks every single solitary artist. If there was one thing that I could do, and it's independent, I don't even care what the work is, I can make anyone successful if you stay consistent. That's it. And no artist or photographer ever does. They all quit. And everybody that's on this call is known. I'm going to make it. This is my time. You start doing a little marketing, and then you're like, life happened. I got busy, right? And you wake up, and you're almost 90 years old, and you're like, where did it go if I would have just put some work in? So that's our job. But Bonnie,
I've been doing photography since I was a teenager.
Yeah, case in point.
I've been consistent, I will say.
Yeah, which is awesome.
Veered off.
Okay, I'll have somebody follow up with you, Bonnie.
Oh, I greatly appreciate it. Thank you so much.
Thanks. All right, Dela, you're up next. Go ahead, Dela.
Yes. Hi, how are you?
Good. How you doing?
Good. Got a question regarding the print on demand.
Yes.
I think I missed the name of the print company that you use for the site.
So there's 2. One name is not going to mean anything because they don't have a public-facing operation. They're more like a commercial shop.
Okay.
But the big one is called Bay Photo. They're on
I'm familiar with them.
Yeah. But okay. Both of them, I get shish kebab for this sometimes, but my honest truth, okay, they all have the same printers. They all have the same inks. They all have the same color calibration software, right? And most of them are using the same products. And so we've moved into this world where, incredible service from a printer is incredible service, but we've moved into this world where the guys that are buying ink by the barrel are putting everyone else out of business, right? Because they're buying ink by the barrel. And like the most amazing thing about it, Dela, is, I shouldn't be saying this either. I don't care. They do so much volume, okay, that you get better shipping rates because, they're doing $34, $50 million a year, whatever it is. They're crazy numbers with FedEx and with UPS. So you get better shipping numbers. And then not only that, if anything ever happens, print gets damaged, it got ripped, something happened in transit, they don't care. They're like, okay, no worries. We're going to print another one. We're going to ship it out. Well, what should I tell the customer to do? Just tell them to destroy it. A new one's on the way, or donate it to someone, right? So it's like it's so nice to have that support from some of these bigger vendors. But at the same time, you have utter, total, and complete flexibility, Dela. You can have us handle a portion of it through those printers. If you want to use a local printer for something, you can do that. It's called self-fulfillment. So all of the options are there. You're not like forced to do any one thing. It's whatever works best for you. But I highly believe that I don't want you guys spending time going to the printer because it doesn't fundamentally grow the business like creating more art or marketing will do,
Right. What about like how much control do I have over pricing? I mean, I know that, Bay Photo will charge their price for printing.
Mm-hmm.
Now, let's say you're getting a bulk order.
Mm-hmm.
How does it get customized? Is that something I'd have to kind of do on the back end?
You have 100% control, number one. So you're setting the price at every single solitary level. We have guidelines. We essentially recommend everybody start with a 250% markup over the wholesale cost because that gives you some margins to do some discounting, do some sales, do some promotions. If you've got a bulk order, My number one suggestion to you, Dela, is get on the phone with these people immediately and white glove that thing over the line, okay? Because bulk orders are the holy grail. So that's what I would be like, get on a Zoom call, Dela, get that person in a room and, give them the white glove experience. But you could certainly have the software set up to do it as well, right? And you can create unique items, unique discounts. There's a million different ways you can do it. It's really easy.
All right, so we would have access to that. So I'm saying the
relationship.
Oh
yeah, 100%.
Okay, because I had seen some other artists that are on this platform, and some of the, for example, their prices for like a calendar, it seemed pretty high. So I wasn't sure if maybe that's just how they want to rate, charge, or is that just because they want to cover their costs? They're charging so much to print them.
No, not at all. Like, it's essentially the same prices that, almost everyone is getting on everything out there for print on demand, right? Like, we get bulk discounts here or there, but that is 100% their markup set as they see fit. But we do advocate in certain situations to have healthy markups because negotiation.
For the merch. It's mainly for the merch. I mean, I know how much metal prints generally cost. I have experience with that. It's the merch products that I'm not really so sure, like a postcard, like one postcard for $7. It just seemed pretty high.
For sure. You have complete control to set it. I mean, I'm not going to call it the dirty little secret, but the thing that no one understands about merch is no one really gets rich on the merch. Okay. Like, unless you're selling a tremendous volume, you're not going to do incredibly well on merch. Most people. Okay. But it plays such an important role in the business because it's essentially just advertising, number one, okay? And then number two, it's acquiring a customer instead of not. And one of the things that they don't teach in art school or photo school, which breaks my heart, is in business, the easiest customer to get is the one that you already have. And what I mean by that is it's far easier, statistically, mathematically, to get a customer that you've already acquired, regardless of purchase price, to come back and purchase again than it is to go out and get a new one for the very first time, right? And so I see all of these artists that, they're anti-merch and they're anti-non-wall art as a part of their lineup. And that's okay. There's some people that do that. But, you're acquiring 7 to 10 customers a year, let's just say. You sold 7 to 10 pieces last year. Okay. You now add the merch in. And instead of the 7 to 10, you've acquired 150. Well, next year, when you run your first promotion or your first special, your first campaign, and you're emailing 150 customers versus 7, the maths end up working out very well for you because some portion of those folks are going to come back and buy again, right? Because that's the collector phenomenon that exists in this business. So really, for me, the merch is just about acquiring as many new customers as you can. And then it's also fantastic to increase what we call AOV, which is average order value. And our software has the ability to do, there's a whole bunch of different terminologies for this. It's like one-click upsells and order bumps. But the analogy is, when you're in line at the grocery store or you're in line at the hardware store and they're snaking us through the aisles, and why they're snaking us through the aisles, there's duct tape. Let's use the hardware store. There's duct tape and cell phone cases and charging cables and fly swatter. Do you know what that is? That's just a retail's way of increasing the AOV. And it's saying, hey, you're here. You're about to buy something. Would you like this to go with your order? Right? So, okay, I've just come to your site, Dela, and I'm going to buy a big metal print. You have the ability, both before the transaction happens with our software and after the transaction happens, to say, hey, do you want to add some cell phone cases that are just like that piece to your order for another such and such? Would you like to add a calendar? Would you like to add a set of gift cards? And it works. It works. There's a reason that every retail store does it, right? Like, we're not trying to reinvent the wheel. Like, a lot of our strategies are just, hey, here's what works in the real world. Let's just roll it into the digital world, right? It's tried and true, and it has been for hundreds of years. So let's not reinvent the wheel.
Okay. All right. Yeah. Well, thank you. Thank you for explaining it.
Yeah, my pleasure. Thanks, Dylan. All right, guys. Who else? Okay. Sure, I gotcha. Go ahead. And how do I say it? Is it D. Cherie or is it Dr. Cherie?
It's Dr. Cherie.
Nice to meet you, Doc.
You can call me Cherie.
Okay. I'll call you Cherie.
Well, I've been coming back time and time again. And now that I'm in a position better than I used to be,
Mm-hmm.
I'm wanting to schedule a time when we can talk over everything else.
No problem. I'll have somebody reach out and contact you. If not today, they'll get back to you tomorrow.
Thanks so much.
Yeah. And thanks for coming back. And that's the thing, like
always.
Yeah. It takes time until everything gets going and you feel like you're in a good spot, right? But I love encouraging people to get started, whether it's with us or not, because it's like I'll just get started when, right? And then the minutes turn into hours, turn into days, turn into weeks. It's like we got to get this thing going. While you guys are thinking about questions, I've got one here from Alessandra that I said I would answer, and it's, can you talk about the reality of the time investment an artist will need to spend on marketing? For me, and I continue to see this, we all have in our head, first of all, we're all in different seasons of life. Some are caring for elderly folks. Some have a sick spouse. Some are laid up. Some have small children that are coloring on their walls with crayons and stealing everything out of their office. Ask yourself whether or not that's me. Certain times in life, you have more time and energy and effort, Alessandra, to put into it than others. And that's okay. That's just life. That's the reality. But what I've seen is that those that stay consistent will always win no matter what. It's almost independent of the artwork. It's almost like it has nothing to do with the meritocracy on the actually work. It's like a meritocracy on the working, on the business. So you put in what you can when you can, as long as it stays consistent and you don't take weeks and months off. So that's why we've designed everything that we've designed, Alessandra, to help with those things. That's number one. Number two, everybody always tells me they only have this much to give, right? And then they come back on a Zoom session and they're like, I got in a gallery, right? Like, I got written up in the local paper. The news did a story about me. I just got my biggest order. And then all of a sudden I'm looking at their marketing and I'm like, wait a minute. You said you had 2 hours to give and now you're doing 10 hours of work a week. How is that happening? And it's because that's how we're wired as humans. When things are actually moving forward and we get progress, we get invigorated. The emotional reservoir gets filled up and all of a sudden we're spending more hours. Now, the flip side of that is the roller coaster inevitably ends up coming back down, and that's really where we stepped in, right? And make sure you're still moving forward, make sure you're still making that forward progress. So that's what I would say. And very good. Alessandra's like, I believe you. I'm being consistent. I know you are. Who else, guys? Questions while we're here? Why you got me on a Friday? Okay, it's okay if you got him. It's okay if you don't. The follow-up today's session, if you are so inclined, like Bonnie and the doctor dropped off, but we're more than happy to show you a demo, all the plans, all the packages. Very, very easy to do, very easy to request on the website. You can throw in the chat if you want me to have my team reach out. We can certainly do that. But then at least you know all the plans, all the options, all the packages, the special that we're running this week, and you can see all of that. So that's what I would say. All right. Well, I hope you guys all have wonderful weekends. I hope that the presentation was somewhat valuable and you learned some things. For those of you guys that listen to podcasts, I highly recommend you subscribe to ours. Over 500,000 downloads. How many reviews? Over 200 reviews, something like that. But it's great. We give the store away for free on this thing. It's awesome. It's on Apple Podcasts. It's on Spotify. If you have a podcast app, it's anywhere you listen to podcasts. So it's really, really easy to find it. And yeah, I hope you guys all have a wonderful weekend. Thanks for hanging out, guys. Bye now.